Good morning, class. Professor Kane here. Welcome to week 2. We're going to be diving into the U.S. Constitution this week. We mentioned it a little bit last week in the founding documents. Now we're going to do a deeper dive into the structure, how we got the U.S. Constitution. Of course, we'll go back to the convention and talk about how they developed the U.S. Constitution and like. So this is a short week because of Martin Luther King Day. We had Monday off for Martin Luther King Day, one of our federal holidays, marking the incredible life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., an incredible American who helped change our society and change life here in the United States. So very important holiday. Next, we want to mention that this was a short week, so you still have your discussion board that is due on Wednesday, your inquisitive reading quiz that is due on Friday, and then, of course, your homework assignment that is due on Sunday. Everything will be working as a normal week. You just have a day less to get into your discussion board, but you should have been able to get into the program. There was a thing on. I got a bunch of messages this morning when I came in because you weren't able to access parts of the course yesterday. That should be fixed and fixed for future classes as well. So you shouldn't have that issue. You should be able to get into the course material by Friday of the week beforehand. I'll open up for the week going forward. So this week we're going to be talking about the U.S. Constitution. We're going to do a deeper dive into kind of 3 of the important compromises that they had to work out in the Constitutional Convention and the consequences of those compromises. And then we'll also talk about the amendments. You'll get to read through the amendments for your homework assignment and pick one that you think is the most important or most interesting to you. Of course, most of those compromises, most of what they had to think about when writing this Constitution, which is the framework for our current form of government, was checks and balances. How are they going to keep the federal government or the state governments from becoming too powerful? And how are they going to keep the Congress from becoming too powerful vis-a-vis the presidency and the judicial branch? How are we going to keep those powers working together and focused on what's important for the people, not focused on their own internal interests? So that's what we'll be talking about this week. Your discussion board for the week is on the preamble, which is basically the introduction to the Constitution. It's this very beginning portion of the Constitution that gives us our only sense of why. Why did they write this Constitution? Very important, much like the Federalist Papers, in explaining, the purpose of the document. This is these famous lines that begin with we, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, ensure domestic tranquility, and it has a bunch of other stuff, do ordain and establish this Constitution. So it explains why the founders started the Constitution. So I want you to think a little bit about this preamble, and then our homework assignment will be what is the most interesting or important amendment to you. So I want you to read through all of the amendments, all 27 of the amendments to the Constitution. They're all very short, and tell me what you think is important. We're all going to come at this question with different experiences and backgrounds. So you think about why it's important to you. And then lastly, I just want to mention the inquisitive quizzes. Paying attention to how much time you guys are spending on those. Remember that dial for your confidence, that confidence dial will really help you speed up through how much you're working on those inquisitives. Most people spend, probably about 45 minutes is what you want to get to on how long it takes you to take these inquisitive quizzes every week. Some people are going to take longer. Some people are going to be able to do it shorter. And everyone's going to spend less time on it as you get used to it. Please send me any questions or concerns that you have. I look forward to seeing your posts in the discussion board and your thoughts on the most important amendments. I'll get to grading this week, start getting grades in for your assignments last week, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.